Hello and welcome to this special coverage marking the anniversary of the ratification of the National Action Charter. Since its early years, Bahrain has adopted democracy, and it has been an integral part of the policies of its successive rulers for decades, deeply interested in the involvement and partnership of citizens in the decision-making process, out of a true belief in the importance of democracy. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa launched the ambitious reforming project accompanied with the National Action Charter, which reflected the wise vision for democratization and parliamentary process in the kingdom. The National Action Charter, the special political and social document that paved the way for pivotal developments in the Kingdom of Bahrain, was approved by 98.4% of the people of Bahrain and was a great step towards modernization and progress that covered human, political, religious and social aspects. In this coverage, we shed light on various fields of developments following the ratification of the National Action Charter. Stay tuned. The Kingdom of Bahrain has made several achievements at various levels. The National Action Charter was the basic core of the advanced steps that enhanced the political, social, economic, human rights and foreign relations aspects to meet the rising aspirations for further development and progress. Bahrain has been able to develop foreign relations and strong fraternal bridges of communication that extend for many years with the countries of the world in order to achieve the best possible level of development for the countries and peoples. The National Action Charter contributed to strengthening the frameworks of cooperation with the Arab world by participating in various frameworks of cooperation in order to remain a political and legal framework that embodies the unity of the Arab nation and works on the integration of the joint Arab action. In terms of international relations, the Kingdom of Bahrain has been able, through its global achievements, to expand the frameworks of global and regional peace through its adherence to the basic principles, most notably the settlement of all international disputes by peaceful means and the prohibition of the use of force to undermine the territorial integrity of political independence of any country, in addition to its positive and constructive contribution to the activities that are related to the field of human rights. Welcome back. From an early stage, the Kingdom of Bahrain realized the vital role of education in supporting the national comprehensive development and ensuring its sustainable growth towards a better future for all citizens. As a result, it has taken important measures to develop learning in all educational institutions in order to create an innovative platform for a knowledge-based community. It is important to note that the reform project launched by His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa played the main role in shaping the future and drafting the country's comprehensive development strategies based on the strength and competitiveness of education that ensures creating a scientific environment that would contribute to the successful implementation of national initiatives. The substantial expansion of investment in education resulted in the establishment of many new public and private schools, universities and institutes, with the goal of providing the society with high-quality graduates who can compete successfully in the national and global labor marketplace.
As part of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa's leading project, Bahrain has made many achievements in the educational field whose outputs have been optimized for a better future for the kingdom. The vision of His Majesty the King and the people of Bahrain were framed through the chapters and articles of the National Action Charter. The coronavirus pandemic was the best example of Bahrain's keenness to continue the educational process and achieve the visions of the National Action Charter and His Majesty the King. Also, the efforts of the government led by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa were evident in developing the educational system. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister was keen on following up on all the developments related to the educational process in various circumstances to ensure its continuity without disruptions. The efforts to develop the educational system would not have been possible without the concerted efforts that always strive to achieve the directives of His Majesty the King.
Marking the anniversary of the ratification of the National Action Charter, His Excellency, the Minister of Education, Dr. Mohammed Mbarak Jum'a, gave us this exclusive statement.
His Majesty the King pays special attention and care to education in Bahrain, and this is manifested through the different projects and programs implemented by the government of Bahrain, chaired by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, the Prime Minister. The Minister of Education has a variety of initiatives and projects that are all directed towards the attainment of students. We have actually partnered with a lot of international institutions to make sure that we are following appropriate benchmarks when it comes to scientific achievement. So, for example, we have partnered with IEA, which is an international society in charge of testing trends in the curriculum, particularly in maths and science. We do pay attention to improving our teaching strategies to make sure that our students benefit the best from the curriculum put, because the curriculum is not only about the textbook and the book, it's also about the teaching strategies and about the evaluation scheme. So we make sure that we have a comprehensive approach towards our students' education. So the Ministry of Education now, and through the new infrastructure, the organizational infrastructure, is working with the private sector, and namely the EDB and the Chamber of Commerce and other partners, to make sure that investment in this sector is actually put on our priorities for the coming years.
The achievements of Bahraini women are evident in Bahrain's history and have culminated since the issuance of the National Action Charter, where the formation of a committee to prepare the charter included 6 Bahraini women. The National Action Charter, which was issued upon royal directives and was unanimously agreed upon by the people of Bahrain, contributed to empowering Bahraini women and making many achievements and gains. On August 22, 2001, following a few months after the vote on the Charter, the Supreme Council for Women was established, which reports to His Majesty the King. The Council has a legal personality and is chaired by Her Royal Highness the wife of His Majesty the King, and is considered the reference for all official authorities with regard to women's affairs, and is specialized in expressing an opinion and deciding on matters related to the status of women directly and indirectly. Since its establishment, the Supreme Council for Women made many achievements for Bahraini women in various fields to fulfill the aspirations of the National Action Charter, which made Bahraini women an essential partner in the development process of the Kingdom of Bahrain.
Welcome back. We continue our special coverage. Following the ratification of the National Action Charter, the National Assembly was formed of 2 chambers, the Shura Council and the Council of Representatives, which collaboratively perform their duties with constant coordination. With its 40 appointed members, the Shura Council has played a significant role throughout the years in terms of creating an advanced democratic environment and remarkable political action in the kingdom. To know more about the achievements of the Shura Council as well as its local and international roles, we would like to welcome the Shura Council's member, Dr. Jamila Salman. Hello, Dr. Jamila, and thank you so much for coming here to our special coverage.
Hello, and thank you so much for having me today with you.
Dr. Jamila, I would like to start with, can you tell us about the stages of development witnessed by the legislative work and how they paved the way towards today's political prosperity?
Well, we can start, by saying that the reform project of His Majesty the King has really laid the foundation for all the legislative work that we are living today and whatever we could have progressed so far, which led actually to a lot of progress and achievement at all levels, including the legislative work. And I can say that, started actually at earlier stages and start to crystallize when the people of Bahrain had voted for the favor and in favor for the National Action Charter on 14th February in 2001. And actually that was with the highest percentage recorded in the Kingdom of Bahrain. And after that, the process of development has continued, where the Constitution have given the right for the people to vote who represent them. And as you mentioned, for the National Assembly, we have the 2 chambers. The chamber, for the Shura Council, where, His Majesty the King appoints the member. And then we have the Council of Representation, where the people can vote for who represent them in that council. And this is a really great step. And after that, really, you will see a lot of development, a lot of, changes, where there were a lot of amendment to the Constitution and really helped, where a lot of legislation has been developed and really shape the way we are living, and the political prosperity that we are living today. And by international standard, the Kingdom of Bahrain actually is really an advanced country where we reached a higher and probably the highest level with legislation, comparing it and really in pace with the international development.
And as you said, Dr. Jamila, the ratification of the National Action Charter has paved the way for all sectors, and it achieved many accomplishments after that ratification. Which brings me to my next question. How did the National Action Charter consolidate Bahrain's legislative action?
Well, the National Action Charter really played a pivotal and very important role in the fundamental and, in all the contribution for the democratic development and reform. And actually, it's been as the reference for all the legislative work at all levels, which include economy, security, human rights. So it's been the base for everything, and really pave the way and give the roadmap for all the legislative work that we are doing, and all the legislation that has been established. It took into consideration what has to be done and all the laws in favor for the Kingdom of Bahrain and the people of Bahrain.
The National Action Charter also paved the way for Bahraini women to really have their voice and have their role and be an equal partner in the kingdom. And many accomplishments has happened ever since, thanks to the support of His Majesty the King and the efforts of Her Royal Highness the wife of His Majesty the King. Which brings me to my next question. How do you value the royal trust and constant support towards women in the legislative field?
Well, actually, His Majesty the King is, one of the greatest supporter for, the women in Bahrain in general at all level, and special attention to the, the women in the legislative sector. And as you know now, in the Shura Council, we are 10-member female, and that's around 25% of all the Shura Council, and that really reflects the trust His Majesty has in the Bahraini woman and faith that they really can contribute significantly to the work of legislation. And all the ladies, all the members that we have in the Shura Council, they are really the finest in their diverse subspecialties, and really they can contribute significantly and making sure to implement all this legislation comprehensively and smoothly.
Dr. Jamila, the Shura Council's committees are the pillars of its legislative performance. Can you tell us about the role of both services as well as women and child affairs committees and how their performance is integrated with other committees to serve the aspired goals?
All the committees within within the Shura Council, really they work together and an integrated way, and all of them in their subspecialties. So all of them, they revised the same probably and related legislation and came up with those laws that really help and support the legislative work in the Kingdom of Bahrain. In regard to the two committees that you mentioned, where in the first one, which is the Services Committee, which I'm a member in it, actually this committee specializes in all the legislation and laws related to the health, education, vocational training, labor matters, social development, education. So all of this, whatever related to these, subspecialty is being revised and being discussed within this committee. In regard to the other committee, which is the Women and Child Affairs Committee, as a deputy of the chair of the committee, this committee looks to revise all those laws to make sure that they are appropriate for the women and children of Bahrain. At the same time, the committee actually revise and study all what's referred from law, new law, suggestion of law or legislation, and really after a thorough study of this legislation, we have to submit a report to the council to be implemented. At the same time, this committee actually give the opinion for other committees, whatever its relation to the child and women development, and even for the implementation, make sure the implementation of whatever refers from the the Parliament division for all international decision and recommendation that's been implemented, and we follow this in the Kingdom of Bahrain.
And speaking of which, the Kingdom of Bahrain made huge strides in the field of women and child rights. How did the National Action Charter lay the foundation of women and child rights protection in the kingdom?
We can say really that in general, societies cannot and never, will be able to thrive without having the basic foundation that really can shape and encourage, the pathway forward and really lift all the, achievement and the goals we are looking for. And we are believe, and one of the most these values is the freedom, and the freedom for the family in general, women, children, families, based on the concept that really the family are the basic building block in the Kingdom of Bahrain. So having these family and giving them the freedom and the safety really will build for you a strong and free society. And really we are fostering within the new generation the most important values, the values of religion, the love for the homeland, and all those moral, good morals that we believe in the Kingdom of Bahrain.
And following up on that question, how do you value the constant progress witnessed by legislative work regarding preserving child's rights in particular, and what are the indications of success?
Well, Kingdom of Bahrain actually really did a really major step and advancement for the child protection. That through several pathways. One of them is legislation. The other one is the agreement that we signed with the United Nations and ratification of the all international convention. What we are doing, and at the same time, every once in a while we are establishing and really having new initiative in the Kingdom of Bahrain for the child protection. From the legislation part, actually, probably that we have in Bahrain that's been issued the child law, which is number 37 for the 2012. And actually, this law had been the reference for all the child protection, and and to avoid the maltreatment for children, and really has to the led to the establishment of the restorative justice law for children and the restorative justice committee and court for the children. At the same time, we have the child protection program and center of Bahrain, which we're really proud of it, because it gives all the guidance, all the the procedure, how to implement it, and even the penalties if there's something happen wrong. At the same time, we provide everything that these children may need, from rehabilitation or assessment, whether they need to be referred to a specialized center or hospital, or even any of the welfare centers. So it has the whole picture and the whole whatever is needed to protect our children in Bahrain.
Bahrain always pays great attention to these rights, women's rights, child's rights, and human rights in general. In performing its role, the Shura Council collaborates with several institutions. How do you value such cooperation, and how does it contribute positively to achieve the desired goals?
Well, the Shura Council is very open to international collaboration and collaboration with similar organization or institution, whether regionally or internationally, in the vision of His Excellency, of His Majesty, the King of Bahrain. And that really helped, this cooperation with similar bodies and institutions really helped to formalize and strengthen even the legislative work within the Kingdom of Bahrain, and sharing our experience with other countries that really will reflect back in our achievement in the Kingdom of Bahrain. So it's really much appreciated, and the Shura Council actually had to draw a kind of mapping for this collaboration, which should help for for the future of our work in the Kingdom.
And all of these achievements that you just mentioned have earned Bahrain an international recognition regionally and globally. Which brings me to my next question. The cooperation with regional and global Shura councils and democratic institutions are pillars of the council's work. Tell us more about the significance of that.
As I said again, this collaboration is really very important, and that collaboration is fundamental to the council work and parliamentary cooperation and diplomacy nature, which really goes in hand with the approach of the government for all the foreign affairs diplomacy under the leadership of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, the Prime Minister. So that all help in really implementing and enacting all these legislation at the regional and international level.
And Dr. Jamila, what's the importance of sharing Bahrain's success stories in the legislative field?
Well, that's really very important. I think, Bahrain as a democratic country, we really have a lot of success story that we can share, with the other countries in the world, and really that will increase the sense of patriotism and really give us the strength, the justice and the legislation authority give us strength to share their success, their role, their authority with the other, brotherly countries that really can help and really can empower, Bahrain and other countries for anything related to legislation.
Sharing Bahrain's success stories, I think, is very important, as well as sharing expertise with other countries at the same time. How do you value the international recognition of Bahraini women's success in the legislative field?
Well, I think we've seen over the last, especially within the last 2 decades, how the Bahraini woman really has contributed to legislation, stood for the election, and actually, even headed the the Council for Representation. And this is really, and it's really a sense of pride, not only for Bahraini women, actually for even the Arab world. And I think this has been recognized and has been well perceived by all the countries. And this is where really we see how the Bahraini woman has been put on the scene of the national democratic scene in Bahrain, and how she's contributing to the whole process.
The Kingdom of Bahrain can really be a model in the field of women's rights and empowerment globally and regionally. Last but not least, from your point of view, how do you see the future of Bahraini women's contribution to the various aspects of national development?
Well, in shortcut, amazing. I think the Supreme Council of Women, led by Her Royal Highness the Princess Sabika bint Ibrahim Al Khalifa, wife of the King, has really given all the support and encouragement for Bahraini women to be able to take their parts and duty in developing and improving everything actually at all level in the Kingdom of Bahrain. And the Bahraini men and women really works as partner for all development and progress in the Kingdom of Bahrain, and that empower the Bahraini women. Really, they were able to take a leadership position at local level and international level, governmental and private sector. And I think you'll see more because of the strength and the capabilities that the Bahraini women have shown so far, and we are looking for actually more achievement.
Dr. Jamila, would you like to add anything before we conclude?
Well, I think, thank you so much for having me today. And I think, Bahrain as a democratic country, we have a lot of success story and a lot of achievement, and we are looking for more in the future and in the near future, inshallah.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for being with us. It's a pleasure having you in this special coverage.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure.
It is important to affirm that Bahraini women have greatly contributed to the democratic progress and strengthened political action based on their sense of patriotic responsibility and eagerness to contribute effectively to the National Comprehensive March. Our coverage continues. We will be back with more right after this. The right to express an opinion is a right guaranteed by the National Action Charter, which came with the vision of a wise leader who constituted a starting point for a development project that led the Kingdom of Bahrain to a comprehensive renaissance, where journalism and media work was given space to exercise the national role in a democratic climate in order to highlight the civilized approach of the kingdom. The media achievements made during the era of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa came out of His Majesty's belief in the importance of the role of the press and media in shaping the features of the Kingdom of Bahrain and its future, as the media scene achieved remarkable development in line with the comprehensive renaissance and the qualitative leaps and gains it achieved at all levels. The appreciation that journalists and media professionals enjoy is embodied in the Kingdom of Bahrain's launch of many initiatives that highly value the efforts of their national role, most notably the award of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister for Journalism, and the establishment of the Bahrain Journalists Association, and this is evidence of the prosperity that the Kingdom of Bahrain is experiencing today.
Inaugurated in 2010, the National Charter Monument was commissioned by His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa as a gift to the people of Bahrain. The monument commemorates Bahrain's adoption of the National Action Charter by a sweeping 98.4% majority on February 14, 2001, thus paving the way for the pioneering Royal Reform Project. The monument is one of the most symbolic structures in Bahrain's modern history and links the new generation with the historic heritage of the kingdom. According to the vision of His Majesty King Hamad, the structure records the patriotic contributions of national work pioneers and encloses the names of all those who voted for the 2001 National Action Charter. It reflects the people's support for the royal leadership, their resolve to maintain the social fabric, and their contribution to enhancing Bahrain's democratic march. The building explores national history and identity in a series of vivid and unique visitor experiences. These include the National Action Charter Show, as well as programs and functions aiming to upgrade national culture, promote creative thought, and contribute to educational and cultural programs in cooperation with the relevant national and international establishments and organizations. The National Charter Monument is a vivid embodiment of the vision of a king and the history of a nation. The structure instills the basis of national unity and highlights the kingdom's rich cultural heritage, all the while documenting the contributions of the Bahraini people in actualizing the aspirations of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa in leading the current and future generations to further development and prosperity.
The Kingdom of Bahrain is a pioneer in the region in preserving and promoting human rights based on the belief that humans are the key elements in the comprehensive development of any country, a development that cannot be achieved without the active role and effective participation of both men and women, which must be given full rights and freedoms according to law and legislations. The establishment of the National Institution for Human Rights, the NIHR, according to law number 26 of 2014, is one of the remarkable achievements of Bahrain's comprehensive reform march. The tasks of the NIHR focus on the promotion, development and the protection of human rights. And to talk more about that, we are pleased to be joined here at the studio by the chairman of the National Institution for Human Rights, Engineer Ali Ahmed Al-Razi. Hello, Engineer Al-Razi, and welcome to our special coverage.
Well, thank you for having me here, and I'm very glad to talk about our missions.
And I would like to start with this. The enlightened vision of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa enabled Bahrain to achieve many human rights accomplishments. What can you tell us about that?
Well, everything started with the National Action Charter, and it has laid the ground for everything. All the journey of the democracy started from that side, from that part, with the referendum. And the result of the referendum was incredibly high. According to that, we had the institutions, and we had all the establishments of the democracy. One of the result was the NIHR, which has been established by a royal decree in 2009. And then eventually the establishment law in 2014, as you mentioned, which was amended in 2016 to have more complying to the Paris principles. And now our law is very much matching to the Paris principles, which give us a very high authorities for visiting announced visits to the prisons and detections units.
The establishment of the National Action Charter has paved the way to enhance the field of human rights in the Kingdom of Bahrain, which led to many achievements, and one of them is the establishment of the NIHR. Which brings me to my next question. The establishment of the NIHR came in response to the need to deal with human rights accomplishment, protection and development in the Kingdom. Tell us more about the NIHR's vision, scope of work and structure.
Well, you know, the NIHR, as you mentioned, it is a result of challenges. In Bahrain, we are good in turning the challenges to advantage. And this is one of the advantages that we are having in the region. The NIHR working very hard to enhance the human rights entirely to the society. It's not only a matter of having law that give you a high opportunity. It's you have a mandate to the society itself to upgrade the understanding of the human rights, not only the authority, but the society itself. So one of our mandate, apart from the protection, is the education to the society, the education to the NGOs, and establishing a lot of workshops, working in hand with the authorities, with different authorities, wherever we have related to human rights entirely.
And the Kingdom of Bahrain has made many achievements and accomplishments in the field of human rights, which is proven in the international recognition that the Kingdom gets. The legislative branch of government plays a pivotal role and gives full priority to support the NIHR's performance. Tell us more about such support and how it facilitates achieving the aspired goals.
Well, in the establishment itself of the NIHR, we have a member of the parliament, member of the Shura Council as well. They are part of our commissioners, which means we are having a very good and strong relationship directly with the both chambers. Secondly, we are working hardly in any of the law projects or with the old law, even if we have any laws where we have any contradictions with the human rights, we usually give our view to the both chambers. And then according to that, we have meetings and to establish the best in our law protecting the human rights.
Mr. Ali, the NIHR plays a pivotal role in the field of human rights in terms of enhancing it and developing it and raising the status of the kingdom on the international level. The NIHR is committed to strengthening the capabilities in the human rights field in order to maintain providing effective services. What are the initiatives and training courses launched by the institutions in this regard?
Well, as I said previously, we are doing a lot of workshops. We are doing a lot of training to the authorities who is having direct contact with the to the human rights, whether it's Ministry of Interior, Ministry of Justice, or with the society or with the NGOs. Last year we had several workshops as such, and we had as well one conference regarding the alternative sentences.
And in performing its duties, the NIHR deals with several institutions. How do you value such cooperation, and how does it contribute positively to achieving these goals?
Well, in Bahrain, we have a lot of, let's say, tools and mechanism of protection, human right protection. It's not only the NIHR, we have the ombudsman, we have the special investigation unit of the public prosecutions, where we have MOU with all those identities, and we work hand in hand because each one of us, we have separate mandate, but we should have proper integration among these identities towards enhancing the human rights. This is one part. Secondly, we usually have a proper cooperation in between in regards of any complaint to the human rights violations.
And integration and coordination is key to enhancing human rights, of course, in the Kingdom of Bahrain. Latest technology and modern means of social media facilitate direct communication with the target audience. How does the National Institution for Human Rights make use of that?
Well, you have to be always updated in that part because this is the real part now where you have a proper coordination and connection with the society. As I said, one of our best mandate is to have a strong relationship with the society and to gain the trust. By gaining the trust, we should be nearby them, and for that we should have all of the social media, which is the Instagram. We are active in the Instagram, we are active in WhatsApp, we are active in Twitter. And as I say, this is whatever will take us to be more or to strengthen our relationship with the society, we are going for it.
And of course, the engagement of citizens and residents of the Kingdom of Bahrain also help in that department as well.
Exactly.
And what are the future plans and upcoming projects prepared by the NIHR?
In this year we are preparing for a big conference, international conference regarding the environment. And Bahrain, as any other GCC country, we have high development, makes ourselves doing a lot of violation to our environment. And it's good that we understood that. It's good not only to understand that we have done some violation, we have now to go for curing that. To cure it, first we have to establish an understanding of respect to the environment. And this is our mandate this year. We are going to work hardly on the environment protection.
And all of these efforts not just accomplished an enhanced field of human rights in the kingdom, but also reached the international level. Which brings me to my next question. How do you value the regional and international recognition of the Kingdom of Bahrain's achievements in preserving human rights?
You know, we have a lot of achievement here. I will take an example like last year when we made the international conference for the alternative sanction. We brought a lot of from different speakers from different countries, from Europe, Africa, South Africa, Latin America, and from Arab states. We were having a very high example that was not achieved anywhere in the region. Not only in the region, but we were having a lot of pioneers' ideas here. But unfortunately, people, they didn't know about it, because I think we need to work more harder to work internationally to show them our example. The good thing about Bahrain, that we work always very hard in changing changing our legislative law, or reviewing our what we have, and we are building on it.
Exactly, and Bahrain's efforts paid off. It reached the international level, and it gained it an enhanced reputation on the global level. How can Bahrain's initiatives and stories of success in political, democratic, and human rights fields inspire other countries in this regard?
As I said, we should always not be shy of the experience that we are having. The good thing, as I said about Bahrain, we are always developing, and we are building on what we have. We review what we have. We don't say that we are perfect. From there, the time you say that you are perfect, you will stop being developed. To develop yourself, you always should review and cooperate with the region. And as I rightly before say, that we have a lot of MOUs among other NIHRs in the GCT. We have established with Kuwait, with Saudi Arabia, with Oman before, and we are learning from them, and they are, I think, learning also from our experience.
Yes, that is impressive. Mr. Ali, would you like to add anything before we conclude?
No, thank you very much, and I would like to congratulate Bahrain for the 14th of February, because from this date, it's the date of everything.
Thank you so much for being here. It was a pleasure having you with us.
Thank you very much.
And the Kingdom of Bahrain will continue its stride in the democratic rights-oriented and progress-driven journey, and will continue to employ legal and practical means which gained recognition by objective international entities to further develop its reform project. We will be back right after this short break. With that, we have reached the end of our special coverage marking the anniversary of the ratification of the National Action Charter. We would like to thank our guests for being with us, and we would like to thank you all for watching. Goodbye.